One night when my husband was away for work, my 5-year-old adopted son said, "Did Dad go to see my real mom?" I immediately started to dig deeper and found out that my husband was doing this behind my back. What I did next? Hello, guys. It's Anna here, and my precious son Kyle also says hello. He doesn't know what I'm going to talk about here, but he wanted to say hello anyway. So, my story is about how Kyle came into my life. He is the best son, and I really don't regret having him in my life. I needed to make this clear firsthand because I didn't want people to assume that I didn't want Kyle after the fiasco with my husband Victor and his friend Erica. So now that I have got that out of the way, let me tell you how I discovered that my husband was cheating on me. Victor and I had a loving marriage, as far as I knew. I had absolutely no reason to suspect him of infidelity. I know a lot of betrayed women say this, but it is true. After all, you wouldn't marry someone unless you trusted them completely. I trusted Victor, and he was a nice husband. He was also a very caring friend, which is why I didn't mind him having a large friend circle and frequently hanging out with them. In fact, I too became a part of his big friend group, which was how I met Erica. Erica and I became pretty good friends over the years, so I felt really bad for her when she came to my house crying. She asked to come over when she did. I saw that she was a mess. Victor and I calmed her down a bit, after which she said, "I'm so sorry for coming here on such short notice, but there's something important that we need to talk about." "What's the matter, Erica? You don't look that well. Are you sick or something?" "You are right about it in some way, I guess." "What does that mean, Erica? Tell us what's going on." I'm pregnant." Usually the news of a pregnancy would delight people. But Erica seemed to be really down and actually started to cry after she told us that she was pregnant. I couldn't understand her reaction before I remembered that her situation was a little different than a lot of us. Erica wasn't married and didn't have a stable relationship. She usually dates around a lot. So having a pregnancy in this situation might be tricky to handle if the circumstances are not good. I knew that I had to deal with this gently and said, "Don't you want this child, Erica?" "I don't know, Anna. Having a child was never in my books. I don't know what to do." "Were you able to contact the child's father? What does he have to say about this?" "He was a one-night stand. I have no way to contact him. And besides, I'm not even sure who the father is." "Oh no, that is a sad situation, Erica. Looks like you'll be a single mother, but don't worry. We are with you." "That's the thing, Anna. I don't want to be a mother of any kind. I don't even have a good job and don't know whose child this is. Getting child support is absolutely out of the question. I don't think I'll be able to raise this child." That day, Erica cried a lot and got super stressed about what she was going to do. I won't lie and say that I was a saint. Hearing her cry over an unwanted pregnancy was a little difficult for me because I wanted one but couldn't have one. Still, I was there for her like a good friend and comforted her. Victor also comforted her, but this was mostly a woman's issue, to be honest. After all, only a woman would understand what it's like to give birth to a child. Erica was scared out of her mind with all the possible changes in her life. She was a struggling woman with a just above minimum wage job. So having a child without any form of secondary support would be difficult for her and her child. I comforted Erica to the best of my abilities and let her stay with us that night. The next morning, Erica left and we promised to stay in touch. I didn't really know what to do about her situation, especially since there are limited options. However, after 2 days, Victor approached me and said, I'm really worried about Erica. It seems like she's not interested in having this child at all. Yeah, she doesn't want to have an abortion, so that's that. Looks like she would have to have the child. If you don't mind, can I tell you something? What is it, Victor? I've been thinking about things and I kind of have a plan in mind. Oh, really? What is it, my dear? How about we ask Erica to let us adopt her child? I will be honest here, that thought actually didn't cross my mind at all. We had already received my fertility diagnosis, but were still coming to terms with it. We knew that having a biological child would be impossible for us. There were other options, of course, but we never really talked about it. At that time, the wound was very raw for me, so I wasn't prepared to have discussions about it yet. Victor didn't take the initiative either, so the thought of adopting a baby, let alone Erica's, wasn't in my thoughts. So I looked at Victor cautiously and said, You want us to adopt Erica's child? Yeah, with your permission, of course. We are a team in this. Will Erica be okay with it? Did you ask her by any chance? Well, I didn't ask her yet because I wanted you to be on board with this. But she did mention looking into adoption. I see. So she's interested in adopting her child out? I guess it's a reasonable option since the child would have a better home. We can be that better home for the child. It would actually be nice to adopt a child from someone we know. We wouldn't have to worry about the child's birth mother showing up out of the blue or the child having an identity crisis. That is a good point. Adopting a kid from someone we know may have certain advantages. Plus, we will be helping a friend out. So, what do you think, Anna? I I need to think about this, Victor. Can you give me some time? Sure, take your time. I know you will make the right call. My husband gave me some time to think about things, but I should mention that he grew very persistent about his idea. He kept telling me all the positives of the matter and how this would be a great chance for us to help someone out and have a baby at the same time. He made it seem like it was the best idea ever. I could tell that he was really interested in adopting this child and relieving his friend's stress. I was kind of cozied up to the idea too because it was pretty lucrative. Usually, couples have to go through a lot to adopt a child, but I was getting a golden opportunity within a short time. So I gave my husband the green signal from my end. My husband and I talked to Erica and expressed our desire to adopt her child if she would allow us to. Erica seemed super excited and said that this was the best thing ever. She told me that she had already contacted an adoption agency and we could just go through them to make the process easier. So that's what we did. We also took over Erica's expenses till the baby arrived after we signed a contract with her. It was all working out really well and we were very excited for our child. Erica even took me to her doctor's appointments so that I could bond with her and the baby during this process. For the next 5 years, everything seemed to be going very well for us. My husband and I adopted Erica's son and named him Kyle. Kyle was the absolute joy of our lives, and we were super happy to have him with us. Never once did I feel like he wasn't my child because I was so involved during the pregnancy. It felt like I had bonded with Kyle already before he was born. Victor was also great with Kyle, although a little less present than normal. Now that I think about it, things rarely changed for Victor. He had his life and job while I cut down on my work hours to take care of Kyle. In fact, I was the one taking full responsibility for Kyle after work as well. Sure, he did some work for the baby, but not as much as me. To be honest, I was okay with it. I managed, and Kyle was a good kid. Now comes the bad part. When Kyle had turned 5, Erica had already moved away to a different city. She got a slightly better job there, so she had to move. She was kind of sad to go, but managed anyway. During this time, my husband also got way busier at work and started to take overnight shifts. He is an engineer and often had to visit construction sites for supervision. So it wasn't anything that would raise suspicion. One day he was out of town for work when my son told me something shocking about my husband. It started off as an innocent conversation with Kyle asking me, "Mom, where's Dad? He's not home." "No, sweetie, Dad's not home. He's gone for some work, so he won't be back in a few days." "Where's he gone?" "He's gone to another city, Kyle." "Did Dad go to see my real mom?" Kyle's question threw me off a little. I hadn't really expected him to say that. We don't use phrases like real mom around the house. We kind of see it in a negative light, so I didn't know where Kyle even learned those words. I know that children sometimes say the most random things that don't even make sense, but my instincts were telling me something else. I decided to try and correct him to see what he would say next, so I said, "No, sweetie, Dad had gone for some work. He'll be back in 4 days." "But Dad goes to my real mom a lot." "What are you talking about, Kyle?" "He always goes to see my real mom. She comes over too. Dad takes me with him sometimes to see her." "Oh, so when did you last see her, Kyle?" "Last week when Dad and I went out." This was all new information to me. The week before, Victor had taken Kyle to his grandma's house, which was in a different part of our city. They did that sometimes when my husband wanted to visit his mother with our son. It was like a mini break for me, so I never complained. I knew that my mother-in-law loved Kyle over, and my son also had a nice time talking to his grandma. I would have the whole house to myself, and it would give me some time to unwind since a visit to grandma literally lasted till dinner. So it wasn't very uncommon for Victor to take Kyle and visit his mother without me. That day, he had told me that he was going to his mom's, but now my son was telling me that they went to see Erica. It was all very confusing for me. I asked Kyle, "But didn't you go to your grandma's house last week?" "No, we didn't go to grandma's. Dad took me to see my real mom. We had a picnic." "That's strange. I thought you guys went to your grandma's house." "It's a secret, Mom. Dad told me not to tell you. Aunt Erica also told me not to tell you." As soon as Kyle mentioned that both Victor and Erica had told Kyle to keep secrets, I was already pretty angry. I would have been fine with Kyle seeing his birth mother frequently because I believe he should have a connection with her. I had no idea why Kyle would lie to me about these meetings and then tell Kyle to keep it a secret from me. I was getting extremely annoyed at this, and it made me a little suspicious. Then Kyle said something that was probably more shocking for me. "What else did Aunt Erica tell you to do, Kyle?" "She tells me to call her mommy, but I don't want to, "Do you want to call her mommy? She's your birth mother, so." "No, I don't want to call her mommy. You are my only mom." He told me that Erica was trying to make him call her mommy. That was a huge red flag for me because we had decided that only I would be called Kyle's mom, while he would always know Erica as an aunt. Of course, we would have allowed him to call Erica whatever he wanted when he grew up, but Kyle told me very clearly that he didn't want to call her mommy. "I see. Does your dad make you call her mommy too?" "Yes, he says that Aunt Erica is my real mommy, just like he is my real dad." "What? Dad said that he's your real dad and Aunt Erica is your real mom?" "Yes, Mom, Dad said that." "Then what did they say about me?" "They said you're not my real mom, you're just raising me. Are they right? Aren't you my mom?" After this, my time was spent reassuring my son that I was indeed his mother. He seemed very confused and upset about this entire situation. He rarely stayed alone with me, so he probably never felt comfortable enough to tell me these things sooner. Since his father wasn't in the house that day, he may have finally gotten comfortable enough to talk to me. I was furious because my husband was going behind my back and doing suspicious things. But also, I was sad for my son because he seemed confused by everything. I tell you guys, I was seriously pissed off at them for involving Kyle in their ridiculous drama. I don't know if I would have ever found out the truth if they hadn't involved Kyle. However, it doesn't make it any better that my son did get affected by all their behavior. So I didn't press Kyle for more information. He was still a little confused about this whole thing, and I didn't want to upset him anymore. He was clearly struggling, so I knew pushing him for information wouldn't be a good idea. But I simply couldn't get his words out of my mind. It was highly unlikely that Kyle was making up all those stories. He did tell me that most of his visits to Grandma's house were actually meetings with Erica at some restaurant or park. I'm not adding his exact words because he didn't say those things in a single conversation. Plus, Kyle is still trying to improve his speech, so he breaks up his sentences a lot. But he did confirm again that he and Victor met up with Erica secretly. Apparently, it has been happening more frequently over the past 4 months. That was exactly the time when Victor started to take Kyle to my mother-in-law's house alone. Something was definitely amiss, and I decided that I needed to find out what was going on. I thought things through a lot and knew that my options were very limited. I had a child, so I couldn't just drop everything and go follow my husband. That wasn't possible because I couldn't get anyone to babysit Kyle on such short notice. My mother-in-law was also out of town for a vacation, so she couldn't babysit either. All in all, with my limited options, I realized that I should wait for Victor to come back. So I did just that. While I waited for him to come back, my mind and heart were a mess. I could tell that something was horribly wrong, and if I dug deeper, I may find something that I won't like. Still, I decided to wait and see what happens. The real trauma for me was when I opened Victor's Instagram. He actually had a whole desktop set up at home for his gaming needs, but was also logged into his Instagram on the desktop. I did some digging to see what he was up to, and I was shocked when I discovered Erica's chat with him. It wasn't Erica's main account, but I knew it was her because of the texts. My husband was saying, "I can't wait to take this trip with you. It's been ages since we've gone out together. Yeah, my pregnancy messed everything up for us. I can't believe what a drama we had to play these last few years." Well, that drama paid off because now we have a son we don't even have to look after. Yeah, Kyle is having a really good life in your home. Anna dotes on him so much. This was like the best idea ever, Victor. But still, I would have preferred to have Kyle know. We don't have that option, Erica. Giving your child support would have been difficult, Erica. Anna would have found out and started asking questions. Plus, I wanted to keep my son close. I know, Victor. After all, you were the one who didn't want me to get an abortion. I should applaud you for coming up with such a great plan without getting us caught. I was really afraid that we would have to abort or give up our child. At this point, I was having a hard time even comprehending when I was reading. It didn't feel real. It felt like I was dreaming or watching a bad movie. Oh God, I wish this was a bad movie, but it was not. This was literally my life. My husband had been cheating on me and had a son with his mistress. His mistress was his longtime friend, who I thought was a good woman. My whole world came crashing down. I realized that I had been duped in the worst way possible. My husband had made me adopt his affair child without telling me the full truth. And I stupidly did just that. I had been completely fooled and betrayed. My eyes started to tear up, but I continued to read the texts. I was heartbroken, but I needed to know more. Their conversation continued, and Victor said, I would have never let that happen, Erica. Why would I want to pass off on the chance to have biological children? Anna is as infertile as the desert soil. I could never have biological kids with her anyway. This arrangement makes everyone happy. Yeah, but sometimes I imagine Anna finding out that you are Kyle's real father. It makes me laugh a lot. She's such a dumb woman. I wish you, me, and Kyle could be together, though. We would be a complete family. I don't think that would have been good for us, Erica. We would be horrible parents. Besides, Anna spends a lot of money on Kyle. The two of us wouldn't be able to give him that lifestyle. Yeah, that's true. Maybe we can wait till he turns 18. After that, we wouldn't have to spend money on Kyle anymore, and he won't even be our responsibility. I bet Anna will make him a nice college fund, too. Victor and Erica had made grand plans to make me pay for all of Kyle's expenses and take care of him as well. They were laughing and joking about it over text, all the while hinting that I was a naive idiot who didn't know anything. They were going to take full advantage of me and make me raise their affair child while keeping me in the dark. I was in pure disbelief. But the more I read the texts, the angrier and sadder I got. Reality started to sink in, and I finally understood that my whole life was a lie. I need to clear one thing up here, guys. No matter what I saw in those text messages, it didn't change the fact that Kyle is my son. I didn't see him differently just because he was an affair child. I have raised that child, so he was mine, legally and morally. I wasn't going to blame him or see him in a negative light just because his parents decided to be evil. So I didn't have any ill will towards Kyle. But I was burning with anger at those two people who betrayed me. I can let go of Erica because she wasn't that close to me in the first place. But my husband's betrayal was the worst. I loved that man and was willing to give up my life for him. That same man tricked me into adopting and raising his affair child while laughing about it with his mistress behind my back. I wasn't going to forgive them at all. That night, I had already decided what I would do. I'm a woman who knows her worth, so I didn't even think about staying with Victor after what he has done to me. I was independent and didn't need Victor's money to live or raise my son. So I would say that it was easy for me to leave. The very next day, I went to speak to a lawyer and gave him all the proof I had of Victor and Erica's affair. My lawyer told me that I would have a landslide win against Victor and he wouldn't be able to stop the divorce. He was also positive that I would get full custody because I was the one doing the majority of Kyle's care. Essentially, Victor didn't have almost anything to make himself look like a good father. Then I simply waited for my divorce papers to come home. My husband came back from his little getaway with Erica and was in a good mood. There was no change in my behavior because I didn't want him to suspect that I knew what he was up to. A few days passed normally and I finally get my divorce papers in hand. I also collected another very important document that I will tell you later. One day, I sat my husband down and said, "We need to talk about something important, Victor." "What is it, Anna?" "Here, take a look at these papers." I handed Victor some papers and let him read them. He was shocked to see that they were divorce papers. Out of all things, he hadn't expected to be handed divorce papers out of the blue. He looked confused and shocked, and he said, "Is this some kind of a prank? If it is, it's not funny, Anna." "Everything is a joke to you, isn't it, Victor?" "Well, this is definitely not a prank or a joke. These are divorce papers." "Anna, are you trying to tell me that you want to leave me?" "Precisely, Victor. That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. I am leaving you. This marriage is over." Victor looked pretty angry when I said those words. The audacity of this man is something else. He was the one who betrayed me. And when I served him divorce papers, he looked mad. He basically started to yell at me, saying, "What is this nonsense, Anna? Why on earth do you want a divorce out of the blue?" Well, I have my reasons for it, Victor. There is no use rocking the boat anymore. Let's just agree to part amicably. Absolutely not, Anna. I will not let this happen. I won't divorce amicably when I have done nothing to deserve it. Oh, really, Victor? Do you really think that you don't deserve to get divorced? Yes, I don't deserve this. I've been a perfectly good husband. You think that you were a good husband, Victor? In that case, why don't you take a look at this? I handed Victor another set of documents to see. When he saw what those documents were, he couldn't believe his eyes. It was a DNA test I had gotten done on Kyle and Victor. He was indeed our son's biological father. I had got the test done after he was back from his so-called work trip. I waited to confront Victor because I wanted to have all the proof handy. Your girl doesn't play light. I wanted to shut him up, and I think I did that. My husband stammered a lot and said, "What? How did you? What happened, Victor? I thought that you were a perfect husband, but that's not what these papers say." Please, Anna, hear me out. I can explain everything. Explain what, Vicky? The fact that you had an affair with Erica, that you got her pregnant and decided to trick me into raising your affair child? I'm sorry, Anna. I'm a horrible person. Believe me, Anna. I didn't want to hurt you. It meant nothing to me. Erica means nothing to me. Oh, is that why you're still having an affair? I mean, you lied to me about work and went to spend 4 days with her. Yes, I know, because I called your work and found out. Also, I know that you took Kyle to see Erica and insisted that she is his real mom and you are her real father. It wasn't my idea, Anna. It was Erica's idea. I had nothing to do with it. I just didn't want to keep Kyle away from his birth mother. Erica kept blackmailing, so Victor came up with various excuses about why he continued his affair and involved Kyle as well. No matter what he said, it didn't justify the fact that he had an affair in the first place. My husband kept crying and begging me not to leave him, but I didn't relent and said, "What you have done is unforgivable, Victor. You and I are done. I will be taking full custody of Kyle and make sure that he never sees Erica again." No, don't do this to me, Anna. Don't take my child away from me. You should have thought about that sooner, Victor. If you had told me about the affair sooner, I wouldn't have opted for full custody. But no, you and Erica wanted me to raise Kyle while you two had fun without taking any responsibilities. Well, guess what, Victor? Things won't work in your favor anymore. I'm leaving, and I am taking Kyle with me. Victor broke down and cried a lot, but I didn't listen to his sorry excuses at all. I went to my room and then forwarded details of the affair to his friends and family members. I didn't want him to create narratives to make me look like the bad guy. I mean, he lied about Kyle's paternity and came up with such a sick plan, so I wasn't going to take my chances to wait and see what he had in store for the divorce. Thankfully, once I sent the details of the affair out, everyone was in support of me. Some of them told me that they didn't want to be around Victor because of his evil plan. I guess they got scared of what he could do to them if he wanted his way. So I can say for sure that along with his family, he lost some of his friends as well. It has been a while since Victor and I divorced. Due to the grounds of adultery, I got a big settlement in the divorce. I was also able to get full custody because of the fact that I was the one who was mainly taking over all of Kyle's responsibilities. I was relieved after this judgment because I didn't want Kyle to stay with his stupid father. From what I have heard, Victor and Erica had a number of fights after I had him served. Apparently, Victor tried to end their relationship because he thought he could convince me to stay with him. You see, Erica doesn't want any more children and wouldn't take any of Kyle's responsibilities. She later told him to give up his rights to Kyle because she didn't want to take care of him when they eventually married and Victor started to get 50-50 custody. That marked the end of their relationship. My now ex-husband only has supervised visits with Kyle, and we are all attending therapy. Kyle has been really affected by everything, so we're trying to make things easier for him. Victor has often expressed remorse for his actions and begged me to take him back. Some of his family members are not talking to him, and even his own mother is pissed at him. I take Kyle to see her very often, so it's not like she needs to be nice to Victor to have access to her grandson. Overall, I'm happy that I have Kyle, while Victor and Erica couldn't even be together after all this drama.